All right, starting. All right, should be going now. Yep. Okay. All right. So let me start sharing my screen. So can you see this okay?
Yes.
All right. Awesome. Have you seen the platform before at all?
Yes. I mean,
Okay.
we primarily work through the back end, but we're also worked from the front end before acquisition quite a bit. So,
Okay, very good. Okay. So you can see here I'm logged in onto my dashboard and you can see that I have some administrative rights here, right? So I
mhm.
have some administrative rights and then I can look at myself as an employee if I just click on my personal tab. So I don't have to like log out and log back in with a personal email address to go get that information. In older systems that I came from, you used to have to log out and log back in with a personal email and then see your personal dashboard, whereas you can go between them just like that. Okay. Here you can see any sort of like tasks that need to be done. These are date driven. So if you need to go and do a performance review, if you need to do some time off requests, you can go and you can click on these and it will take you to that particular module to go get that done. Once you complete that task, it will then disappear from this taskbar. Okay. This is a part of the Zen package. That's what it used to be called. I'm not sure what they're going to call it now that Zenefits is no more, right? But we used to call it our Zen package. And so this was the most comprehensive. It had everything. It has, performance management, comp management, people hub, and all of that, employee engagement. And then with that employee engagement came people hub. So you can do announcements. You can say, hey, reviews are due today. Your goals are due today. Hey, we're going on a picnic today. You can do anything like that from here. You can also target not just your entire company, but a person, and then that will go ahead and appear on their feed. These are employees that you most recently worked on. So Allison may have been a new hire, Julie may have had a rate change, Tyler may have had a manager change. Regardless of what the update was, if there was any sort of update recently, their profile will appear here right on the dash. So if you need to quickly go back into their employee profile, you can do that very easily. That being said, you can always utilize the search bar to navigate the system as well. So if you want to go into someone's profile, for example, you can start typing their first or last name, right? And it will start appearing here. If I want to go into payroll, for example, it will also pull up modules. And then, of course, we have the pop-out menu here, which lists all of our modules. This pop-out icon is available all throughout the platform. So if you're in payroll, this will be available to you. So if you need to go to time and attendance, you can quickly go and do that. Okay. And then down here are all of the modules. So they're in order by most frequently used. So you're going to see company directory, company documents, employee documents, company profile, time off, hiring. All of those are going to be up top because they are frequently used. As you scroll down, you'll see things like benefits administration, business intelligence, which is our reporting tool, performance management. And then as you go down here, you'll see all of our integrations. So we don't charge for integrations. We already integrate with over 60 of the most popular workforce apps like Salesforce, Slack, Outlook, G Suite, Guideline, Carta, so anything that's used a lot, we typically will go ahead and integrate with them. And all you have to do is add an app. There's no fee for that. And so our competitors, there usually is an integration fee, and that cost will grow if the company grows. This way you don't have to worry about that. So it's really nice to have that there. Okay. So the first thing I'll go into is onboarding. So of course, employee life cycle, right? So we're going to go into the hiring app. So I typically don't show this area. That's going to be my HR specialist, but I do know it very well. When you're doing an onboarding, you can actually use the Jazz HR integration, which is our ATS. In which case, when you do an onboarding, it will come in here automatically, and then you would just add a team member, and that automatically comes from that ATS. So, but if you're not doing that, you just click add a team member and then that workflow will be right there. So what I'm going to do really quickly, I'll show you what that workflow looks like. So this is everything that you need to gather. So this is the email, the confirmation, the employee type, everything is right here. It's going to go through all of their job details, such as what's their title. And you can also you can have their hire date and you can have offer letters. So that's going to be in this next compensation area. And then you can also determine what their direct reports are going to be, if anyone's going to be answering to them. And then we're going to go to compensation. So this is where you're going to include offer letters or not include an offer letter, so you can store as many documents as you need to, including offer letters and things like that. So you can use an offer letter template. You can see I have several, or you can not include one and then just do one from your desktop or something like that. So either one. Then, of course, you can have IP agreements. You can have all kinds of handbooks under your documents area. So you can house as many documents as you need for the onboarding process, and then you can just go ahead and click on what you need here. I only have one employee handbook, but if I have lots of employee handbooks for different types of employees, they all be listed here, which is really nice. So that way you can choose from those. And then you can determine if they're salary, hourly, their rate, if they're exempt, non-exempt, whether they're going to be reporting time and attendance in the time and attendance app, and then their time off policy. So you can have unlimited time off policies. Here you can just go ahead and determine what they're going to be on. I can go ahead and choose the executive unlimited and then click continue. And then when you go to the payroll settings, are we adding to payroll? Are we collecting tax information? So when they are onboarding, they're automatically going to go through this flow for taxes and things like that. And they're going to enter in their direct deposit information and all of that. And then you're going to determine if they're going to get health benefits, dental, vision. And then when you go to additional options, this is where you're going to collect that I-9 information. So you can determine if you want to have proof of documentation in here and run a background check. So this is tied to like a credit card or something like that. We don't have that in our demo accounts, but typically if you want to go ahead and use the integration with Checker, you can go ahead and choose the run background check, and will automatically run those results and put them right in the employee profile automatically for you once it's completed. And then you can go to the integrated apps area. So this is what we were talking about earlier. These are the ones that I have turned on in my demo account. So I can determine if I want to provision them a Slack account, a Carta account, Salesforce. And in Salesforce, what's really nice is you can choose the type of profile that you want to give them. Do you want to give them a standard user? Are they a system administrator? Things like that. So you can determine what kind of role they have. Are they a trainer, manager? So it's really nice when you determine what you want to provision and deprovision when they're terminating as well. So when they do terminate, they will deprovision all of these as well. Right? And then on the overview, it will tell you the overview of everything that you've done so far, and then you can go ahead and send this invitation. So you can send it via email, or you can do it using a link. So the link is really nice. It will give you a customized link that you can go ahead and copy and paste into like a customized offer letter. So when it gets that, it won't do that link now because it's a demo account, but it will typically come up with a link here that you copy and paste into your own custom offer letter. But most people do use send via email. Okay. Does that all make sense so far? All right, cool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go now into the Marvel app, and I'm going to show you what it looks like to go ahead and do that onboarding from the mobile device. So when I come on and I'm going to onboard, I get that email, right, that says, hey, welcome to TriNet. You're going to go ahead and start your onboarding process now. So once I do that, I'm going to get that email. And from that email, I'm going to, see what they're going to gather from me during this process. I'm going to go ahead and log in. It's going to show me my offer letter right on the mobile app. And this will show on the desktop as well. We just like to show it that people can do this on their phones as well. They're not locked to a desktop situation. So they're going to go down here. They'll go ahead and click to sign, and then add their signature, and then accept that offer. Then it will go ahead and go through, like if I have attached handbooks, it will show them everything that they need to go through. So that onboarding flow that I showed you in the beginning, and I chose which documents I wanted to add, that will show during this onboarding process. So like you see in the handbook here, that was one of the things I chose. So now they can download that document here. Then once they accept that handbook, they're going to go ahead and do that. Now they're going to enter in their personal information. So they're going to enter in their date of birth, their social security number, and then their home address. And then they're going to determine, they can also determine if they want their phone number to show or not. And then after they provide their EEOC information, you'll see the forms for tax. They automatically will go ahead and fill these out right here. And then they'll click to sign and hit save. And then they will determine their direct deposit information. Once they choose that, Now they're going to go down here and they're going to finish the onboarding process, and then they're going to go to their dashboard, and now they can be into the app right here. And then they finished onboarding. Okay. So when they go through also to the benefits enrollment part of it. So benefits enrollment is a part of that onboarding. That's just getting in their basic information, right, for their pay. The next thing that they're going to do is the benefits enrollment. So when they do the benefits enrollment, it's going to go, it's a lot of times when they're already onboarded, it will take you to the inbox and say, hey, don't forget you need to enroll or decline in insurance. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. It's going to review my personal information. And then it's going to like, do I have any dependents? This is where you're going to go ahead and enter all of that information. So I'm going to enter my spouse. And then we're going to go down here and we can choose to add another independent, or add a dependent or do continue. Then we're going to enroll our spouses in these options. We can go ahead and determine what we want here. And then we can compare plans. So you can also compare plans in here as well, right from the mobile area. So if you want to go ahead and you want to see what it looks like to compare plans here, you can do that. It will show you what the difference is in here. And then we're going to go down here and we will choose continue. And then once we do that, now we're going to choose this for dental. We'll choose that for dental. And we'll go through a scenario where we're going to just go ahead and decline vision. So we can get that, that waiver saying, hey, we're going to decline vision. And then it will go ahead and say, why? Why do we not want that coverage? And it will say, I don't want vision coverage. And it will give you a list of reasons why. Click continue, go through here, and then it will show everything that they've chosen for their benefits. And then their deduction authorization from their payroll. You go down here and then accept. And then they're done with enrollment. Okay. All right. That was a lot. Any questions about onboarding or anything like that? No? Okay, cool. All right. So from there, we're going to go into the time and attendance area, and then we're going to go into payroll. So that's next, right? So now they're working for the company. They're already onboarded. They determined what their benefits are. And also, to that being said, their benefits administrator on this side of the fence, on the SaaS side, we are broker agnostic, so they don't have to use one of our partners. We do suggest that they do because it's a fully integrated system, and they're not charged $5 PEPM to bring their own broker. Okay, so like a lot of times that broker will pick up the fee though for that $5 because they're still using them and they're coming over. A lot of times they'll pick up that fee for them, but usually they wind up picking out one that fully integrates. Now, it does integrate regardless. If they don't pick one of our broker partners, we will train their broker on how to use our Ben Admin tool. So they don't have to use the third-party Ben Admin tool. So we'll train them how to use it. They'll do all of the benefits administration directly in here. They'll do the enrollment. And as you can see right now, you can start a renewal. You can do a quoting tool. They can do everything in here. So once they do all of their work, they're going to go ahead and just start the renewal and then do the onboarding, or not do the onboarding, do the benefits enrollment directly from here. That way it all flows through to their payroll. Okay. All right, awesome. So now I'm going to go into the time and attendance feature. So I'm going to go into time and attendance. So these are for people that have like, hourly workers, people who are clocking in, clocking out, things like that. And then you have people who are self-reporting, people that are just like putting in their hours at the end of the week, whether it's in and out times or total hours. Our system can do a whole bunch of different ways on how to collect time. So they can do an iPad timekeeper, the phone, the web, all of that. So regardless of how they want to clock in, they can go ahead and use the system in its various different ways. So here are people who are clocked in, clocked out. It will also show lunch break. This is a live feed. So if Allison were to clock out, her block would automatically move down here. So that's really nice for like managers that are wondering if people are there, things like that. They can see that right from here. And then you can see metrics over here. So the regular hours worked, overtime hours worked. So if any employer is trying to keep a lid on overtime, they can see that right here on the overview page. And then if they want to see a breakdown of hours, they're just going to go over here to the paid periods area. They can see everything with regular, overtime, any double overtime, PTO that was approved will automatically come over from our time off app. And any sort of holidays that are a part of their PTO policy automatically come over here as well. Okay. And so you can also see things over here that these are issues. So if I want to see if there are any issues, any missing punches or anything like that, I can see that live. So I don't have to wait until the end of the pay period to see those errors. I can actually go into someone's time. And then if I want to see what the errors are, I'm going to look down this little errors row and it will show me where the error is because she hasn't clocked out yet for the day. Now, that's not necessarily an error yet, like it would be tomorrow. But if it is tomorrow and I notice she didn't punch out, I can go ahead and put that in for her as the manager and fix that for her and it will just go away. Now it won't, it will let her still clock in for the next day too. It will just say, hey, did you forget to clock out? She'll say yes, and it will keep that block blank so that her boss can fix that error. Okay. All right. You can also do different labor allocations in here. So I have different positions for Allison. And then this area that's called grant, I actually changed it to grant. By default, it's called labor group, but I changed it because I do a lot of nonprofit demos as well. So I can show them that they can track grants in here as well. So if you have other types of industries like construction, you can put job site, things like that. You can also do position and department and project. So 4 different labor groups. Okay. We can also do geo tracking. So we don't fence them in. The industry's kind of getting it away from geo fencing because since the pandemic, people are working from lots of different places. And when you fence them in, say they're sick, they're working from home or working somewhere else, now they can't clock in because you fenced them in into an office site, right? So we make it so that you can just track where they are if they're using that mobile device, okay? So they can also clock in and out from their computer. And again, from the iPad timekeeper, which I have here. So, and it does need to be an iPad. iPad timekeeper is really good for like restaurants where they really want them to come in and clock in and they don't want them to use their phones and clock in from the parking lot. So that way, if they use the iPad timekeeper, that negates their ability to clock in from the phone. Okay. All right. If I ever want to look at where they're clocking in and out from, I can just go ahead and click on this map and it will give me the latitude and longitude of where they clocked in from. Any notes can be tracked in here as well. So if the employee made notes in here, the manager can leave a confidential note in here if they want to as well. So I'm going to go back into the pay periods here, and then you can remind managers right from here. So if I want to remind managers to approve hours and I want them to do that every day, I don't want them to wait until the 11th hour to do that. I can just click remind approvers. It will send that push notification to their phone and to their desktop to say, hey, go ahead and approve hours. Managers can also approve by day. So if they don't want to wait until the end and they just want to approve it by day because they'll forget what they did, you can go ahead and do that really easily right in here. So it's really up to the manager how they want to approve those hours. And then as they're approved, you'll see it look like that. And once all of these are approved and all these errors are gone, you can go ahead and submit those hours to payroll. And then you don't have to really do much in payroll, but look it over and make sure everything is okay. Any questions about any of that? Is that all self-explanatory? Yeah, cool. All right, very good. All right, awesome. Really quickly before we hop over into payroll, so I'm going to go into people in here and time and attendance. So you know how I showed you those different groups of labor allocations? How you change their settings, really easy. Go on people, the reporting tab for the people who are reporting. I'm going to go into her settings. These are all of her settings. So here you can see she's doing web mobile time tracking, but if I want to switch her to a self-reporting in and out employee, I can do that. Self-reporting total hours. Here's that iPad timekeeper I was telling you about, and then the web mobile. I can also institute custom meal breaks. So in Maryland, we don't have meal break mandates, but in some states we do. So let's say Allison resides in another state where they do require mandates. I can go ahead and put in those mandates right here. So after 4 hours, they have to take a 30-minute break, and after 8 hours, a 30-minute break. And I can go ahead and put that in per person. So it doesn't have to be like, again, that one size fits all way of thinking. It can be down to the individual. Same thing with the overtime. Right now, she's adhering to this custom, this 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day. But if her overtime doesn't start till 48 or something like that, you can change that in here. And then these are the labor groups I'm having her choose when she's clocking in and out. So here, whether even if she's self-reporting, and if I turn these on in her account, she has to report that or it will come up as an error. Okay. All right, that's time and attendance. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to go over into payroll. So when we go over to payroll, it's going to ask me if I want to run payroll now. And that will just basically open up my most recent payroll by check date. Okay, so what I'm going to do really quickly is I'm going to go over to my pay runs tab to show you what I mean. So it will put it in order of the most recent check date. So these are my drafts ready for me to approve. This is everything that's approved pending payment, meaning it hasn't hit the bank accounts yet. This is everything that's been paid out already. So if I were to go into this one, this is the new one that's coming up. I'm going to go ahead and click that. And then everything from time and attendance for my hourly people is already over here. And I see all of my salary is already calculated in here as well. If I want to do any one-time changes to someone's check, all I have to do is click on their check and it will populate to the right just like a pay stub. So you'll see right on top, you'll see the earnings, right? All broken down right here. If I need to make any changes or get rid of anything, I can do that right in here. And again, these are just one-time changes. They're not permanent changes. This is just a one-time deal. And then if I want to add an earning, I can add any earning that I may have created in here, choose that from here. And you'll see that add section under each section. So if I need to add a quick deduction, maybe they borrowed money from us and we need to get that back, we can do that really quickly as well. And as you can see, everything from vision, medical, and health, that automatically came over here from the benefits admin module. I didn't have to do anything in here. It automatically does that. Here's all of the income tax information. And then once I'm done making my changes, just click save and close. So that's how you do one-time changes. All right, if I want to do anything in bulk, like pay expenses out in bulk, I can certainly do that in here just by doing upload bulk earning. And then if I want to go ahead and do a bonus, I can choose what I want to work on here. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to download that digestible template and then I'm going to re-upload that information into the system. So after I fill in all of that information on the digestible template, I'll re-upload it back in here and that will be in bulk. So that way I don't have to click on every person. And then here, I'm just going to go to finish edit, which will take me to my approval screen. So when I go to my approval screen, I can either finish it later, or I can go ahead and run my register really quickly to make sure my check looks normal. So when I go into here, it's calculating taxes right now. You'll see I can finish my payroll later, or I can download my register. Here's where I'll download the register, and then you'll see it will download right here, and I can look at my payroll register, which looks like this. This way I can go down and I can look at the check register, make sure everything's okay. And then here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to approve the run. After I approve payroll, it's going to now move to that approved pending payment status. So once it does that, I'm going to go in there, I'm going to take a look at it, make sure everything's okay. But if I get a phone call saying, hey, we need to change that payroll, I don't have to call the payroll company to do that as an employer. I can actually pull this payroll back all on my own. So once this goes into that approved pending payment status, it's going to take me back to my pay runs tab. Okay. So here it is. Now that payroll's been processed, it's right here, but I'm going to pretend that I do need to pull that back. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on that payroll and choose revert to draft. It will give me my deadline that I have, which is March 18th at 5 p.m. So I'm going to confirm that I know that, and now it's going to pull the payroll back. So our clients can have the availability to pull that payroll back in case of an emergency, if there's cash flow issue or something like that. As long as they haven't passed their deadline, they can pull it back on their own without any sort of intervention. Okay, so that's a big game changer for people in small business. Okay. All right, and next see it's back there in draft. Any questions about the payroll process?
I don't know if this is like specific to payroll, but like can we handle seasonality yet?
In terms of what?
Like think of like a ski lodge. People come in
Mhm.
for a few months, then they
Oh
take the
yeah,
summer off, come back
yeah,
for the winter. Like,
yeah. Yeah,
okay,
absolutely. This is part-timers. Yeah.
okay,
So
cool.
yeah, so you can just keep those part-timers in, and then when they are done for the summer, and you can also do like shifts in our scheduler. So if you go into the scheduler, you can do like recurring shifts that are all the way up until like August 30th, right? So for the summertime. So if I go into the scheduler and I want to make that for that part-time employee, I'll go in here and I can say, here's my new schedule. And I want to go ahead and do, let's from 8 to 5, right? Oops, sorry. I'm going to do 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. and it will fix the formatting for me. And then I'm going to say that's a recurring shift and see where it says that end date. So that's where we can put in that end date for those summer workers. And
I
then
like
that
that.
way, yeah, same. Yeah, it's very nice. That way it's not indefinite. It's not forever.
I think the scheduler is new. I haven't seen it before.
Oh, scheduler's amazing. I love this thing. I love showing
Yeah.
it. What's really cool about this too is that, they can also put in, you can say all the workers in here, right? You can just choose who you want to work. And then you can choose after you make that scheduler, you can put an end date on here. You can make it indefinite, but that way you don't have to keep making shifts. So if it's recurring, it's done. The only thing you need to do in here is like move things around if need be. And when you move it around, it's going to go up here. And then it will also show you if there's like a problem. Like if it's, see how it did that? See, I did that on purpose. See how there's a hazard sign? It's saying she's already scheduled. What are you doing? So now I have to move that back. It'll let me know that I made a mistake. But this white color, see how they're all white? It just means that it's not published yet. That means they can't see it. So if I go to publish this, hit publish, it will then turn blue saying, okay, now they can go onto their mobile app and they can see their schedule. And so if they all share the same manager, they can see each other's shifts. And so that's really cool. So here I can see a few things that are overlapping. So here I can go ahead and get rid of those things. I'm just going to say delete the shift then, it's overlapping. And then that way I can see that. And then once I get rid of the hazards, I can go ahead and publish it again so they can see the new schedule. What's also really cool is you can see position view. So it's not just necessarily people view, but now we want to see if we have coverage. So here's my cashiers, here's my cooks, here are my product developers, here's my product engineers. So if I don't see, like maybe I don't have any receptionists on any other days, right? So that's a problem. So I need to go ahead and move some shifts over into that block. So
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome. I like that.
yeah, it's cool. It's very cool. It's really come a long way since we first developed it. It's really nice. Yeah, very cool. Okay, so now how are we on time? We doing okay? All right, cool. Awesome. So now I'll go into time off. All right. So when we go into time off, this is one of my other favorite ones because time off, people take this like, again, a one size fits all, but that's not necessarily the case. You might onboard somebody that is not necessarily doing the handbook PTO policy, right? They're saying, hey, they're a really good employee. We want to give them 3 weeks instead. So that could literally be George's PTO policy, right? You go ahead, you add the policy, call it George's PTO policy, add them to it during onboarding, you're done. So you can add as many as you need. You can see I have some LOAs in here, some leave of absence for paternity, maternity leave, things like that. You can do unpaid, paid, and custom. So maybe it's 50% paid, things like that. You can do that all in here. And so you could do unlimited days per year or hours per hour. So like if you like make 0.038 hours for every 8 hours work, that's 2 weeks a year for an hourly employee. So that's one of mine up here. So my hourly PTO policy looks like that. So if I go in here, you'll be able to see, you can choose your holidays, how many hours you work in a day. And then I have all of these different time off rules. Now you don't have to use all of these. We just like to show, hey, you can do 7 different buckets. But then on top of that, if this isn't enough, you can do more reasons. Okay. And then have it depreciate from one of these 6. So if I go into these reasons, you're going to see lots of weird things. Like I had some hospitals in here for like organ donation, or it's like a free day off, stuff like that. But I didn't count it against any vacation or bereavement leave balances. I just said it's not counted. It's a free day off. You're giving an organ away. You can take the day off, right? So like you can do really cool things in here like that and add the reason down here. It's really easy to do. So lots of cool things in there to do from there. And then I'll show you how you can do accruals. So I'll go in here to vacation accruals. So here it's hours per hour because it's an hourly PTO policy, right? They accrue it as they work. So if I go in here, I can change it to unlimited or days per year if I want to. I can do carryover or a use or lose, like resets annually. I can do that as well. And then I can prorate their time. So if like say they get 2 weeks a year and they start in June, it'll prorate automatically like a week and a day or 2 days, something like that. It will prorate automatically. And you can also institute a waiting period. So if you want to make sure this person's going to work out, You can do 30, 60-day waiting period in here. And then you could determine if you want to pay them for company holidays during the waiting period. Most people do, so I go ahead and leave that as like leave it alone. Like otherwise you don't have to pay them if you don't want to during the waiting period, but most people do. And then accruing during PTO. So some companies, they don't like to accrue PTO when they're on PTO, but most do. And then can you accrue during the waiting period? So that's, yes, you can accrue, but you can't use it until 30 days is up. Okay. And then here's my accrual rate. Okay, so I can go ahead and set up my accrual rate right in here. What is it? I can do accrual caps, maximum balances, usage caps, or carryover, or no limits. All right, so that's my base one. But then I can go down to my tenure levels. So 2 years, 4 years, 10 years, 15, things like that. So I just set up 2 and 4. So at 2 years, at this tenure level, instead of 0.038, now they're getting 0.5 PTO for every hour worked, right? So it goes up, and then a maximum balance of 200. So, and then in my last level, which is 4 years, now it's not limited. They don't have a usage cap limitation or a carryover cap limitation. So you can keep going and going and going with that. You can also prevent negative balances in here. So I gave a bonus of like, hey, 10 hours if something happens, you get sick, you can do that, or you can put 0 in here if there's like a no tolerance for negative balances or something like that. And then you can do blackout dates. So that's really good for like really busy periods where, you know, people just can't take off during that time. You can have as many blackout periods as you need in the PTO area. Also, too, we have shared calendars. So if you want to put out a calendar, PTO calendar for everybody, go ahead and choose this, do a generate URL, and then you can see here's your subscription to the URL, send this out to everybody, and then that way they can click that URL every time they want to look at the PTO calendar to see when their coworkers are off. That way they don't overlap time. And then that works for Google, Apple, and Outlook. All right. And then any sort of balances, regardless of the PTO policy they're on, you can see I have like 15 of them. They're all listed right here, but I can look at all of the balances just by hovering over the bucket I want to look at, and then it will list all of my employees. If I don't want to like go through the list though, I can just do filter and then just type in the name. So I can go in here and look at their name, it will pull up that individual, and then I can look at that individual's time right in here. So if I want to like edit something in here, maybe I need to edit a balance for her, and I go into here, I can see her current balance is 500. That's a lot. I can go in here and I can edit that if need be. So, and then I can say what the reason is, and then that way that they know why I'm editing that. The requests in here. So the requests are really nice. So you can see that Allison's requested some time off, and here's some approved time. The employee can also cancel their own time. So like if they're like, hey, I don't want to request that off anymore, it'll look like that, like they canceled it. If it's approved and the admin needs to change this, or the employee wants to cancel it and resubmit, they can do that as well. If the admin wants to change it, they can go in here, change it if they need to, just by clicking that edit button. And then if they see a request up here, they can see if they click on the request if anyone else is off during that time. So that will let them know what's behind that request. Are there 10 other people out that day? If so, they might not want to say, hey, you're off that day. So again, but with that shared calendar, that really should prevent that from happening. But if you do see like numerous people are off, you can do reject and put in the reason as to why you can't take off during that time. And then let's see our timeline. So you can go into the timeline. This is also available in payroll. You can look at someone's PTO timeline right in here. This is actually really nice if you don't want to run a bunch of reports. But here, if I want to look at Allison's timeline, I can go into here and I can see all of her PTO requests, balance adjustments, things like that right in here. And then on the overview page, so I do like to show this. This is really good to know what the current PTO liability that's sitting out there. So that's pretty high. Now that is really nice to know, because that might determine how you make your future policies, right? Like that's a lot of money out there. But if you do put somebody in charge of this PTO management and they can't see sensitive information, they can see this number. But if they go into balances, this liability column that you'll see that will pop up here, that disappears. So they can't do a dividing and find out what people make, okay? If you uncheck can't see sensitive info, that disappears. I've tested it just to make sure. So yeah, I always want to because I don't want to say things and then have that not be the case, but yeah, it does. It's really nice. But that's a very nice thing to have too, to see what's out there. Okay. Is it self-explanatory? Any questions around that? Cool.
I have a question around the work location, but I don't know if
Yeah,
you're gonna
sure,
hit
go
this.
for it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So how does it handle that for remote workers? Like, I know there's like a work location that used to be kind of controlled on the admin side, and then the home address obviously was updated by the
Yeah.
employee. Is that automatically updated now? Like when they check?
Yes, yes. So when
Oh,
you do
nice.
onboarding, so what you will do is if they are a remote employee, let's go to hiring again. So I do want to call that out. That's a good question. So because of, everybody working from home now, including ourselves, when we go into here and they'll ask you, when you go into the employment type, it'll full-time, blah, 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 job details here. See where it says company location? See where it says remote? This is the worker's home address. So it's a remote employee. And then what that will do, once it'll just say United States, right? When they onboard, it's going to ask them what their address is. Then it's going to bring in that tax ID area that they need to be taxed from because that's where they're working from. It's all about where you work from. So when they enter that into their address, that's their work location. And then in company profile, you'll see the different remote locations in this area, address and labor groups. So if we go down here, you'll see a few people that are in remote locations. I believe Maryland, Maryland remote. There's one. So you'll see all of the remote ones in here listed in the locations. Yeah.
Gotcha. So whenever they move, it also updates it like after the fact as well?
Well, once the employee puts in that they've moved, it will update it automatically in the system and start taxing in that new code and that new code. Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Usually, I mean, I've been doing payroll a long time. People are like, well, I moved 3 months ago. I'm like, don't worry about it. No one's gonna no one's doing like, well, 3 months ago, it's just, it got handled. It's just, wait till the new year, just go ahead and go ahead and make that change and then it will pull to the new tax jurisdiction. But I mean, there's so many people moving all over the United States. They just want to make sure for the most part that you are, you're reporting in the right tax area. Like I went to Florida for SCO 1 year and I was gone for I didn't change my tax location for 3 days. You know what I mean? So it's just if you're reporting for the most part, in the right area, you're good to go.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So that was a, drive by. There's lots of other things in here. Business intelligence. This is a really cool feature. So business intelligence obviously is our reporting module. What I do like to show in here how easy it is to do custom reports. So if I'm not watching time, are we okay on time? We are. Okay, good. So in custom reporting, so you could see I've made Robin's report several times. Let me go ahead and delete some of these. So it's really easy to do custom reports. And I do like to show this because usually custom reporting in other systems is really difficult to do to find the right fields and everything. You have to know code basically. So here, when you want to create a new report, just click Create Report. You're going to go ahead and name it New Report, give it a description, and then it will ask you what kind of report it is to give you a jumping off point. So that way it can go ahead and take some fields for you automatically and put them in the report. So if I say it's like a retirement report, I'll go ahead and choose that. And then you could see it's already populated some fields in here for me. If I want though other information here like earnings, I can go ahead and add them in here. If I want durations of hours, total hours, I can add whatever I want in this report. I can even include medical, dental. I can do all of that in here. Now, if I don't want to go down through the categories, I can simply go to my search area. If I want to enter salary on this, I can do that. And I can find out their salary, put that on there as well. Maybe I want some more hours documentation. And maybe I want sick time on there for some reason, but you see how easy it is just to make a custom report. So you just choose what you want in here. All of the fields in this platform are right here available all the way down to like life insurance. You can choose whatever you want. You could choose different departments. I'll go ahead and choose project, department, and position. And now I'm done making my report. And then once I click continue, I can go ahead and put this in the order that I want. And I can rename these headers. So if I just want hours, not total hours, it will then change to that customized column, hit continue, include terminated workers in that. And now I want this to come to me weekly on every Monday when I come in the office. And then for those who can see sensitive information, I can go ahead and put those people in here as well. Then that will share that report with them every single Monday as well. I'll do finish, and then my report's all done. The last thing I do like to show in reporting is people analytics. So this is a very powerful tool. So instead of gathering a bunch of reports and making PowerPoints for a big meeting, that's gone. So when I go into view guidebook, it's going to take me, okay, what kind of analysis do you want to look at? Do you want to look at a company level, like company dashboard? Do you want to look at your people? Do you want to look at your budget? So here are your overviews. That's for your company overviews, your people, and your cost. So let's go into the cost one. Okay, so like actual compensation, deep dive, budget compensation, deep dive. There's lots of different things that recession resilience. I'll go into budgeted compensation deep dive. So when I go into this, what it does is it gathers information that you normally wouldn't have access to without running a lot of reports. So here it's going to go ahead and gather information. It's going to say, how does the budgeted compensation change over time? So it gives you like what it is over the years. How much has been spent on total rewards? These are all of your departments. If you hover over these, you can see what was spent in these particular blocks. As you go down, it will say the breakdown of budgeted compensation, supervisory hierarchy. I mean, it really pulls in incredible data. Now, if I want to add filters to this, now this is pulling for August of last year, but I want all of last year. So let's just go ahead and click on this date. I'm going to do years. Now I'm going to do 2023. Apply. Okay, now I've got all of 2023 in there. And now I want to add a filter. Maybe we're going through an EEOC audit and we need to do this for them. So I'm going to go ahead. Here are all of the most popular, but now I'm going to go into all of my filters. So I'm going to do diversity. And because it's an audit, I'm going to do the EEOC ethnicity one. Choose all of these and hit apply. Now all of my charts have changed with that filter. So again, I did that in like 10 seconds. I didn't have to go and run a ton of reports in business intelligence. It's all right here with all of those filters. But now I can either present that or I can download it into a PowerPoint if I want. But all I really had to do is click this present and it will go ahead and present. And then it will give me cover pages. So now I'm in the budget. I'm in the room with everybody. Here are my graphs. I don't lose this functionality when I'm in presentation mode. And then how much has been spent on total rewards. I can go ahead and still they can see what's behind all of this. It's really a very powerful tool. And then I can do some custom analysis. So if I want to do custom analysis, I'm going to go into it's like if I find a report that I really like, let's go back a couple of pages. So if I go into this report and I love this graph, and I want to save it. So now I'm going to go ahead and choose this. And I see this little camera. I'm going to capture it because now I don't want to have to go back and find it, right? I love this one. So I'm going to go ahead and capture it. And then I can go on my captures tab and I can see all of the graphs I've ever captured. So if I want to make any sort of custom analysis, all I have to do is choose them and I can make a custom analysis of these reports. Okay. And then if I want to search something like, maybe I don't want to look through all of those different dashboards, I can do like budget versus actual. Yeah, this is a good one. It will tell you how they gathered the information and what's behind those numbers. And then here's my budget versus actual. So we're doing really well. This is our actual, this is our budget. So everything's looking good.
Robin, we are 3 minutes over. I think we are okay in time, but I don't know if you have
I'm good.
something.
No, that's pretty much it. That's the bulk of it. That's the bulk of it. So yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. So what'd you
This
think?
is really nice.
Good. I'm glad you like it.
Yeah, this is great. Very helpful. Much appreciated.
Oh, you're very welcome. No problem. No problem at all. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. If you want to look more at it, just let me know. I'm happy to get together and show you some more.
All right. And this
Awesome.
is the information that you're showing was seeing some fake data. If we want to show to other employees, for TriNet, especially the PEO side, should be okay, I believe.
Oh,
right?
yeah, it's all fake. Yeah, it's
Okay.
all fake. Yep, you're
All right.
good. All right. All right. Well,
thank
it
you
was nice
again.
meeting you. Talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Thank
All
you.
right, bye.